In the heart of the bustling city, where streets buzzed with the rhythm of ambition and the glow of shop fronts mirrored 1,000 dreams, lived Sophia Marquez. She was a vision of modern sophistication, a young woman who turned heads wherever she went, her wardrobe an impeccable blend of high fashion and effortless chic. Yet, it wasn't her tailored blazers or designer heels that left the strongest impression. It was her hair. Sophia's long, raven black hair flowed like silk, a cascade of strands so smooth and glossy it seemed almost unreal. To her, it wasn't just hair, it was her identity, her signature, her crown. But maintaining its perfection was no small feat. Sophia was relentless when it came to her appearance. She believed that every detail mattered, and no detail mattered more than her hair. A woman's hair, she often declared to anyone who would listen, is the frame of her face. If the frame is crooked, the whole painting looks wrong. Living in a metropolis known for its endless array of high-end salons, Sophia had made it her personal mission to find the perfect stylist. But this search, spanning years and countless appointments, had only left her frustrated. Stylists came and went, praised her beauty, assured her of their skills, and inevitably disappointed her. The curls wouldn't hold. The highlights weren't subtle enough. The cuts felt lifeless. Each time, Sophia would leave the salon with her head held high, but her heart weighed down with dissatisfaction. Her friends teased her, calling her the hair tyrant, but Sophia shrugged it off. When you know what you want, she'd say with a smirk, why settle for less? Her reputation among the city's stylists had grown infamous. Some dreaded her arrival, while others saw her as a challenge. But for Sophia, the goal remained the same, absolute perfection. Her obsession with perfection manifests most intensely when it comes to her hair. Each strand must fall exactly as she envisions, silky, sleek, and utterly flawless. She spends hours meticulously washing, conditioning, and styling, ensuring not a single flyaway or frizz remains. Her bathroom counter is a shrine to hair products, serums, oils, brushes of every size, and a straightener with precision settings. She measures her success, not just by how her hair feels, but by how it responds to the wind or the faintest touch. A mirror is never far from reach. She checks her reflection constantly, correcting any perceived imperfection with almost surgical precision. Rainy days or high humidity sent her into a near panic, her plans revolving around preserving her immaculate tresses. To her, her hair is not just an aesthetic choice, it's a statement of control, an outward symbol of her inner determination to meet the highest standards, no matter the effort or cost. Her dissatisfaction with her hair often sends her on a relentless quest for perfection, hopping from one salon to another across the city. Each new visit starts with cautious optimism as she explains her vision to the stylist, her detailed instructions leaving no room for misinterpretation. But as the mirror reveals the final result, her critical eye always finds something amiss, a layer cut too sharp, a color a shade too warm, or a curl that doesn't bounce quite right. This dissatisfaction becomes a ritual. She meticulously researches the city's best-rated salons, reading countless reviews, and scrolling through stylists' portfolios. Her weekends are spent testing new establishments, some tucked away in chic neighborhoods, others luxury spaces with exorbitant fees. No matter the distance, cost, or reputation, she approaches each visit with the hope that this time it will be perfect. Yet, as her high standards continue to clash with the artistry of others, she grows increasingly disillusioned, each failed attempt feeding her belief that perfection might only be attainable if she does it herself. Still, she can't stop seeking, compelled by the idea that somewhere in the city is a stylist who understands her vision and can finally create the flawless look she's chasing. Her obsession with achieving perfect hair often leaves her feeling trapped in a cycle of hope and disappointment, a journey that has taken her through nearly every salon in the city. What starts as excitement at the prospect of finding a stylist who can deliver her dream look quickly dissolves into frustration as the results fail to meet her exacting standards. Each appointment is carefully planned. She spends hours researching salons, studying reviews, and analyzing photos of clients' hair. The process is meticulous, as if picking a stylist were akin to choosing a surgeon. She arrives early for consultations, carrying pictures of celebrity haircuts, color swatches, and even diagrams she sketched herself to explain her vision in precise detail. The stylists listen intently, nodding as she speaks with the fervor of someone who knows exactly what she wants. But when the chair swivels to face the mirror and the final reveal comes, her heart sinks. A curtain of dissatisfaction falls over her expression, though she rarely lets her frustration show outright. Instead, she smiles politely, pays the bill, and leaves with a simmering disappointment that will fuel her next search. One stylist added too many layers, ruining the sleek flow she desired. Another failed to match the icy blonde shade she painstakingly described, leaving her with an ashy tone that felt dull and lifeless. Even the rare moments when the cut or color is close to what she wants, she finds herself obsessing over the tiniest imperfections. An uneven strand here, a curl that refuses to behave there. Her frustration grows with each failed attempt. The glowing reviews that once gave her hope now feel like a betrayal. She starts to distrust the skills of even the most lauded stylists, convinced they don't understand her vision or simply aren't capable of meeting her standards. Her appointments become tense and clinical, her tone sharp as she explains what went wrong last time. She begins to feel like the city itself is conspiring against her, every salon failing to deliver the perfection she craves. Despite her growing dissatisfaction, she can't stop searching. Her obsession keeps her bound to this quest, as if the right stylist is a mythical figure hidden somewhere among the bustling streets. She begins to push farther outside her comfort zone, traveling to high-end salons in distant neighborhoods, and even considering those with exorbitant prices just to see if they can finally deliver what she wants. But as her frustration deepens, so does her sense of isolation. She can't shake the feeling that no one truly understands her vision, her standards, her need for control. The city, once a playground of possibility, starts to feel small and suffocating. She questions whether the perfection she seeks is even possible, or if her dissatisfaction is a reflection of something deeper, something she's afraid to confront. Yet, she presses on, compelled by an unrelenting drive to achieve the impossible, even if it means repeating the cycle of disappointment endlessly. Her quest for flawless hair has turned the city into her hunting ground, and every salon she enters becomes part of a story, each with its own vivid, frustrating chapter. Salon 1, the chic minimalist studio. She walks into a sleek, minimalist studio downtown, where the floors shine like glass, and the scent of eucalyptus fills the air. The stylist, a young man with perfectly tousled hair, assures her he can achieve the layered cut she's described in exhaustive detail. When he finishes, she sees her reflection, the layers are jagged, uneven, and far too dramatic for her liking. The once promised soft flow now looks like a staircase cascading down her back. She forces a tight smile, but inside, her thoughts scream, how could he butcher something so simple? Salon 2, the luxe high-end escape. A week later, she finds herself in an opulent salon uptown. Gold-framed mirrors hang on the walls, and the chairs are upholstered in plush velvet. The head stylist, who charges a small fortune, spends an hour painting highlights into her hair, promising a sun-kissed glow. The reveal is stunning, to everyone else. Her heart sinks. The highlights are too chunky, the blonde more yellow than golden. It's so modern, the stylist gushes. She nods absently, but can't help thinking, I look like I stepped out of the early 2000s. Salon 3, the vibrant artistic space. Determined to try something different, she books an appointment at a quirky salon run by an eccentric colorist. The walls are adorned with abstract art, and the staff hums along to indie music. She explains her vision for an icy platinum blonde that borders on silver, emphasizing the need for a cool tone without warmth. When she looks in the mirror, her jaw tightens. The color has a subtle green undertone, and her heart races as the stylist assures her it will neutralize over time. She knows better. Green. She spends the drive home wondering how she could walk into work without feeling like a science experiment. Salon 4, the hidden gem. She takes a chance on a hidden gem recommended by a friend. Tucked into a quiet neighborhood, the salon has a cozy, welcoming vibe. The stylist listens patiently and seems to understand her desire for soft, bouncy waves with just a hint of texture. The result is devastating, not the romantic waves she envisioned, but tight, springy curls that make her look years older. It's youthful, the stylist chirps. She thanks them through gritted teeth, already plotting how to undo the damage at home. As you step into her story, imagine sitting beside her in these salons, watching her expressions shift from cautious optimism to muted despair. She leaves each appointment with hair that feels like a betrayal of her vision and a renewed determination to try somewhere else. The details, the sharp metallic sound of scissors, the cool sting of dye on her scalp, the heady aroma of hairspray, become sensory markers of her growing obsession. Would you dare tell her it looks fine, knowing her quest for perfection would hear it as mockery? Or would you silently join her in scouring for the next stylist, the one who might finally make her reflection match her impossible ideal? Her list of failed attempts grows with every salon visit, each a glaring reminder of how hard perfection is to achieve, especially when she has such specific demands. Every cut, every color, every style feels like a misstep, with mistakes that haunt her long after the appointment. She had spent weeks agonizing over the decision to cut her long, flowing hair into a chic, shoulder-length bob. She arrived at the salon with a picture of the style she wanted, a sleek, precise cut that framed the face perfectly. She explained it in detail to the stylist, emphasizing the importance of keeping enough length to retain her femininity and allowing for versatility in styling. Her hair barely grazed her chin, far shorter than she wanted. The sleek bob she had envisioned was now a blunt, unflattering cut that made her face look rounder than she liked. "It'll grow," the stylist said with a shrug. But to her, it wasn't just about growing back, it was about the betrayal of her trust and vision. Her obsession with achieving the perfect icy blonde had become almost legendary among her friends. She wanted a color so pristine and cool it would shimmer under the light, devoid of any warmth. She spent hours finding the right stylist, someone who specialized in platinum tones, and arrived with swatches, photos, and clear instructions: no yellow, no gold. Just cool, pure silver blonde. After hours in the chair, enduring the burn of bleach and the weight of foils, it was finally time for the reveal. Her excitement quickly turned to horror. The color was warm, brassy, and uneven, with streaks of orange peeking through the strands. It looked more like the aftermath of a DIY box dye than the work of a professional. The stylist assured her it was just the lighting and that toner would fix it, but she knew better. As she left the salon, she kept her head down, unwilling to let the world see the disaster on her head. She spent the evening researching ways to salvage the color at home, knowing it would take weeks to undo the damage. She had always loved the idea of layers, soft, cascading tiers that added movement and dimension to her hair. This time, she decided to take the plunge, asking for subtle layers that would blend seamlessly and frame her face. She was cautious, repeatedly asking the stylist if they understood her desire for a natural, effortless look. When the cutting began, she noticed the stylist working quickly, almost too quickly. She dismissed the unease, trusting their expertise. But when the haircut was done, she immediately saw the problem. The layers were choppy and disconnected, as if they belonged to entirely different hairstyles. The back was shorter than the front, creating a bizarre slope that made her hair look lopsided. She ran her fingers through it, trying to mask the unevenness, but there was no hiding the mistake. "It adds volume," the stylist said, but all she could think about was how much time she would have to spend styling it to look halfway decent. She had been on the fence about bangs for years. Every time she came close to trying them, she'd talk herself out of it, worried they wouldn't suit her face. But one impulsive day, she decided to go for it. "Just wispy, side-swept bangs," she told the stylist, showing a picture of a celebrity with perfectly blended fringe. "It's trendy," the stylist chirped, but she couldn't stop staring at her reflection, thinking about how long it would take for the bangs to grow out. She left the salon with a tight smile and spent the rest of the day trying to pin them back, only to realize they were too short for even that. These failures accumulate in her memory, each one more vivid and frustrating than the last. She recalls every detail, the exact moment she realized it was all wrong, the excuses from the stylists, the pitying looks from other customers. It feels like her hair has become a battlefield, with every cut and color a new scar. And yet, she presses on, still searching for the stylist who can finally understand her vision and deliver the perfection she's been chasing for so long. her reputation among the city's stylists grows like a quiet storm. At first, her dissatisfaction was just a private struggle, a series of failed attempts she internalized while moving discreetly from one salon to another. But as her standards and frustrations escalated, word began to spread. Stylists started to share stories, first in hushed tones and later with a mix of exasperation and awe. "She's the one who brought in a color wheel," one stylist would whisper. "Oh, her? She wanted me to measure the layers with a ruler," another would chime in. Soon, she became a name passed around salon floors, a challenge and a cautionary tale. "Impossible to please" became her unofficial title, and new stylists were warned when she booked an appointment. To some, her arrival was a dreaded moment, a customer whose meticulous instructions and sharp critiques could shake even the most confident professional. In the stylist chairs, the routine was always the same. She'd sit upright, clipboard metaphorically in hand, detailing her vision in a way that felt more like a consultation for a high-stakes project than a casual haircut. Her eyes would follow every movement of the scissors or dyed brush, narrowing if anything seemed off. The faintest imperfection, a color that didn't shimmer as promised, a strand slightly shorter than the rest, would spark her frustration. For many salons, her visits became a test of their limits. Some stylists, eager to prove themselves, saw her as a challenge. "I can handle her," they'd say with false confidence, only to find themselves sweating under her intense scrutiny. Others dreaded her arrival, knowing no matter how flawless their work seemed, she would find something to critique. "She's never satisfied," they'd mutter after her departure. She left a 500-word review about how the blow-dry was too rushed. Subscribe for more uplifting and inspiring stories. Like if this story brightened your day. Comment to share your thoughts, we'd love to hear from you. Let's continue. Her reputation wasn't just among stylists, though. Salon receptionists and assistants recognized her name the moment it popped up on the schedule. "We need our A-team for this one," they'd say, clearing time in the calendar and preparing for her visit like it was an event. One salon owner even tried to charge her double, citing the extreme customization her appointments required. Despite the whispers and warnings, she remained undeterred. If anything, the growing challenge of finding the perfect stylist only fueled her obsession. She ignored the glances exchanged behind her back, the forced smiles that greeted her when she walked in. After all, it wasn't about them, it was about her and the perfection she refused to compromise on.